Hello. Sapporo residents spent an uneasy night amid a prefecture-wide blackout. People spent the night in the square of the underground passageway Chikakoho in front of JR Sapporo Station, which was partially open to the public by the municipal government as blanket and water were provided in Sapporo's Chua ward. 什么亲爱的？Chua ward. 爱丁堡的。即将到Anybody 哈手45分，9月8日。Edinburgh 20 prefectures find no sterilization victim names under eugenics law. Health Ministry 1,112 words. Lawmakers are deliberating relief measures for those who were forced to undergo sterilization surgery under the now defunct Eugenics Protection Law. 1948 to 1996, but with just 12% of the approximately 25,000 people believed to have undergone surgery identified according to a Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare probe in which local governments were asked to dig up records. A rocky road lies ahead in building a framework for redress that reaches victims who have not been identified. This is the result of those in positions of power failing to address the issue for 20 years after the law was changed, said Koji Nisato, the head of a legal team representing plaintiffs suing the central government in the Sendai District Court for compensation on grounds that the operations violated their human dignity ensured by the Constitution, in a scathing criticism of the Health Ministry's repertory probe results. In its latest investigation, the Health Ministry compiled reports submitted by physicians and records of surgeries left at local governments of Japan's 49 prefectures. Names of people who were forced to undergo sterilization surgery were not found in 20 prefectures. Of those 20 prefectures, the governments of 8, including Tochigi, Osaka, and Kumamoto, said they could not even find records of surgery application, numbers of actual surgery numbers. It is believed that the records were destroyed according to ordinances dictating how long administrative documents must be kept. Records have been especially difficult to locate for cases in which people ostensibly consented to the surgery. According to the central government statistics, 8,429 people who gave their consent underwent sterilization operations. Operations, but the identities of those people are still uh, unknown. Health Ministry posits that unlike forced sterilization surgeries, which require applications and approval from administrative bodies, records of surgeries in which pro forma consent was given by those who received surgery may not have been kept because there was not much involvement of administrative bodies. Ever since the eugenics law was changed in 1996, people have called on the central government to pay reparations to victims of forced sterilization surgeries. There is no denying that government bodies have been slow in dealing with the preservation of related records. We had no clear grounds for asking prefectural governments to save the records. A senior House Ministry official said. Still, the digging up of victims' names did the progress at some local governments, with the Miyagi prefecture government and the Hokkaido prefecture government identifying 900 and 830 people's names, respectively. In Ibaraki Prefecture, where governments Kazuhiko Oigawa said in March that the prefecture government had been unable to find any documents identifying individual names, as civic groups hunt for records touched off a search for documents kept at the prefecture history museum where the names of victims were discovered. How to deal with the 3,033 people whose names have been found in the records so far has yet to be decided. Some in non-partisan parliamentary group working on the issue have said that the 3,000 plus people should not be notified, considering the possibility that some victims may be living their lives without having told families, members, and others about having undergone sterilization surgery. In response to such suggestions, Attorney Nisato argues that the government should take a more protective approach. All elderly people with disabilities in Japan should be alerted to the fact that they may have been subjected to sterilization surgery, and in cases where it seems likely, officials from administrative bodies should directly interview the possible victims. Safeguarding privacy is important, but the government must not use that as an excuse to be passive in its investigations. Keiko Toshimitsu, an expert on the eugenics protection law and the visiting researchers at Ritsumeikan University's Research Center for Ars Vivendi, pointed out that the central government's investigation was a mere call for local governments to make an effort to find documents without any penalties for not doing so. Therefore, she said there were differences in the levels of enthusiasm with which prefectural governments searched for records, and there are doubts about the findings' accuracy. She continued, just because authorities cannot identify specific individuals, it doesn't mean that victimization didn't take place. The issue should have been handled more proactively and with more flexibility, taking into account such things as declarations from the victims themselves. interview of parties involving and surgical scars. In its probe, the Health Ministry also looked for documents related to appeals and approvals given by prefectural governments for forced sterilization surgery, a system that central government had cited as a basis for how human rights were protected under the Eugenics Protection Law. The prefectural government, however, was able to find any records of such an appeal ever being made. What they found instead was a spate of records that showed that victims were not told of the appeal system or that they had been forcefully convinced into undergoing the procedure. The Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare places weight on records pertaining to the appeal system because, in response to criticism that the forced sterilization surgeries were a violation of human rights, it cited the existence of the appeals process to justify the sterilization program. In Hokkaido, however, a number of records documenting how the parents of people with disabilities targeted for sterilization surgery were convinced by authorities from public health centers and other public bodies were found in a series of investigations. Sterilization. I think sterilization. 造势。慢一点。
喂喂喂喂，哎呀，喂，你又不在，喂，怎么一点不着调啊？长点的，我面弟弟了，喂，
洗发是黑手的，黑手。现在爱的黑手。黑手，黑手，大家好，让我们齐声，齐声，爱你我黑手，齐声，叹气，来叹气。哎呀，听我的声音，爱听我的黑手。哎呀，哎呀，重要聊天信息。哎呀，几分几秒了。September the 23rd. The 23rd. 滋一下，滋一下。